You know, I gotta tell you, this whole thing started back in the summer of 2022, right there in my cozy little house on Maple Street in Boulder, Colorado. Jake Harlan, just a regular guy pushing 40, thinking I'd finally cracked the code on life with this foolproof plan to flip houses and build a nest egg for my family. I'd poured everything into it, scrimping on date nights with my wife Sarah, skipping weekends with the kids to scout properties, convinced this was the ticket to stability after years of bouncing between construction gigs that left me bone-tired and barely scraping by. But man, oh man, it all came crashing down faster than a house of cards in a windstorm. First the market tanked, then a shady contractor ghosted me with half my savings, and suddenly I was staring at a pile of debt that made my stomach twist like I'd swallowed nails. It hit me hardest that one rainy afternoon when I got the call from the bank, their voice all clipped and professional, saying, "Mr. Harlan, we're denying your loan extension. Your projections just don't hold up." And I just sat there in my truck, rain pounding the roof like it was mocking me, feeling this deep, gnawing anger bubbling up because this wasn't just money. It was my whole damn blueprint for the future, the one I'd sketched out late at night while Sarah slept, dreaming of giving her and the kids a life without worry. I remember storming home, slamming the door so hard the pictures rattled, and Sarah, God bless her, always the calm one, comes out of the kitchen wiping her hands on a towel, eyes wide, saying softly, "Jake, talk to me. What's eating you?" And I just exploded, pacing the living room like a caged animal, ranting about how the world was rigged against guys like me, how I'd worked my ass off only to get kicked in the teeth again. But underneath that rage, there was this quieter voice, you know, the one that whispers when you're alone, making me wonder if maybe, just maybe, this wasn't random bad luck, but something bigger pushing back, like the universe or fate or whatever you want to call it, saying my plan was too small, too safe, and it was time to let it go. Sarah, she's the one who dragged me to that little community church on the edge of town, not because we were big believers back then, would lapsed years ago, too busy with life, but she said, "Jake, we've tried everything else, why not this?" And I went along, grumbling the whole way, figuring it couldn't hurt. That's where I met Pastor Mike, this burly ex-trucker with a voice like gravel and a laugh that could fill a room, who pulled me aside after service one Sunday, coffee in hand, and said point blank, "Son, I see that fire in your eyes. Looks like you're wrestling with something heavy. Ever think maybe God's got a hand in derailing your train 'cause he's got a better track laid out?" I scoffed at first, crossing my arms like a stubborn kid, replying sharply, "With all due respect, Pastor, if God's involved, he's got a funny way of showing it, leaving me high and dry with bills piling up." But he didn't back down, leaning in with that knowing smile, eyes twinkling like he was in on some cosmic joke, and hit me with stories from his own life, how he'd planned to haul freight cross-country forever until a wreck totaled his rig and forced him into ministry, saving lives instead of just delivering loads. It planted this seed, you know, this nagging doubt that my house-flipping empire was me playing small, hiding from a deeper calling I'd ignored since I was a kid, dreaming of coaching youth sports or something that actually touched people's souls, not just their wallets. The real conflict ramped up when my old buddy Tom Riley, the guy I'd partnered with on a couple flips, the one who always had a scheme cooking, caught wind of my doubts and came over one evening, beer in hand, smirking as he plopped down on my porch swing. "Jake, you're not seriously buying into that church crap, are you? We've got a gold mine here, another property lined up in the hills. Easy money if we push through." His voice had that edge, you know, laced with mockery, like he was daring me to back out and prove I was weak, and I felt this surge of defensiveness, my fists clenching as I shot back. "Tom, it's not crap. Maybe I'm tired of chasing shadows, building stuff that crumbles. What if there's more to life than this grind?" He laughed, harsh and biting, standing up so fast the swing creaked, pointing a finger at me like an accusation. "More? You're gonna throw away our partnership for some fairy tale? Wake up. Man, this is the real world, not Sunday school." That exchange left me reeling, heart pounding, because Tom wasn't just a partner. He represented everything I'd built my identity on: hustle, deals, the illusion of control, and now it felt like he was the villain in my story, manipulating our friendship to keep me trapped in the safe lane, driven by his own greed after losing big on a bad investment years back, jealous that I might escape the cycle he was stuck in. As the weeks dragged on, The inner turmoil built like a storm cloud, me lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling fan, worrying endlessly, replaying every failure, the botched flips, the empty bank account, Sarah's worried glances, and questioning if I was crazy for sensing this divine push, this quiet insistence that my future demanded something bolder, like starting a nonprofit to help struggling families renovate homes. Not for profit, but for community. It was tearing me apart, this clash between my logical brain screaming to double down on the plan and this pull in my gut saying let go, trust the redirection. Then came the turning point, that unexpected counterattack that flipped everything on its head. It was during a church retreat up in the Rockies, me hiking alone on a misty trail, frustration boiling over as I yelled at the sky. If you're real, why wreck my life? Why not bless what I've got? And in that silence, broken only by whine through the pines, this wave of peace hit me, like a memory surfacing of my late dad, who'd always said, Jake, plans are maps, but life's the adventure, don't be afraid to reroute. It wasn't dramatic, no burning bush or thunder, just this deep knowing that my small dreams were choking the bigger purpose, one tied to helping others like Dad had helped me after Mom left, building not houses but hope. From there, the shift accelerated. I confronted Tom one last time at our usual diner spot, the air thick with tension as waitresses bustled around, and I laid it out flat, voice steady but edged with resolve. Tom, I'm out. This path's not for me, Anna Marie, it's killing my soul, and I see now it's caused something greater's calling. He sneered, slamming his coffee mug down so hard it sloshed over, his face reddening as he hissed. You're a fool, Harlan, throwing it all away for what? Some feel-good nonsense? You'll regret this when you're broke and forgotten. But I didn't bite back. Instead, I felt this moment inside, a quiet triumph as I stood up, leaving cash on the table, walking out with my head high, the door jingling behind me like a punctuation mark on that chapter. Sarah was waiting at home, and when I told her, tears in her eyes, she hugged me fierce, whispering, I'm proud of you, Jake, this feels right. And we started brainstorming the nonprofit right there on the kitchen table, sketches turning into reality as doors I'd never knocked on swung open. Grants from local foundations, volunteers from the church, even a feature in the Boulder Daily that brought in donations. Fast forward a year, and there I was, standing in the ribbon cutting for our first community home reno project, a rundown bungalow transformed into affordable housing for a single mom and her 2 kids, the sun breaking through clouds like some movie cue, crowd cheering as I cut the tape. Feeling this rush of fulfillment that no house flip ever gave me, deeper, lasting, like I'd finally aligned with what I was meant for. Tom. He slunk away after that diner blowout, our paths crossing once at a hardware store where he nodded curtly, envy flickering in his eyes as he muttered, heard about your thing, lucky break. But I just smiled, no malice, replying coolly, not luck, Tom, redirection, and walked away, the weight lifted. It was satisfying as hell, seeing how letting go of my tight-fisted plan unlocked this abundance, not just money but purpose, mending my marriage, drawing my kids closer as they pitched in on weekends, turning what felt like ruin into a legacy that'd outlive me. But here's the thing that still nags at me. The part that keeps me up sometimes, was it really divine intervention, or just me romanticizing coincidence to make sense of the mess? I mean, in a world full of skeptics like Tom, pushing back against anything that smells of faith, is it fair to say some higher powers against our plans for our own good? Or are we just dodging responsibility for bad choices? It sparks debates in my circle now, folks arguing over whether surrendering control leads to true freedom or just delusion, especially in communities torn by economic pressures where one person's redirection looks like another's abandonment. What do you think? Was I right to let go? Or should I have fought harder for the original dream? Drop your take in the comments below. Share if you've had a plan derailed and come out stronger, or if you think it's all BS. Let's hash out what's just, what's fair in these messy life twists. Your stories might just help someone else navigating their own storm.